Hi friends, my name is Bhavya Mangla. I am IATF qualified auditor doing audit for the automotive sector for the last 18 years. I'm again back with a very interesting topic that is related to the 7-step problem solving technique. The step number 2, which is talking about correction, containment and interim action. Well, in our general life, if you see, we all are surrounded by different kind of problems and we always try to find out some solution to that. Sometimes we find some temporary solutions, sometimes we actually go in depth and try to find out what exactly is the reason, and then we do a proper corrective action so that that problem should not repeat again. So in this particular video, I'm going to talk specifically with respect to correction, containment and interim action. And in general, if you see, whatever complaints or rejections that are coming in industry, primarily there are 5 different actions that we are taking on that. The first one is segregation, the second one is repair, third one is rework, the fourth one is deviation or concession, and the fifth and the last one is scrap. So let me first start with correction. So when we talk about correction, the intent is to take an action to eliminate a detected non-conformity. Now, we must understand that it is not a corrective action because it is not addressing the root cause of the problem, but we are simply correcting the non-conformance. To give you an example, let's take an example of a molding process where a flash is coming. Now, what to do immediately? So maybe we'll just have another operator, and the role of that operator will be just to cut the flash so that the non-conforming material should not go to the next process or maybe to the assembly line. And we'll keep on doing it till that time we actually find the root cause and we can take some action on that. If I take another example, say you're sitting in an office and you're doing a very important assignment and you start feeling heavy headache. Now what to do at that time? So maybe the immediate correction that you can do is that you will just take some medicine so that that pain can be relieved. Or if you talk about another example with respect to the maintenance process, now in the maintenance process you find that a water pipeline is leaking. Now what to do immediately? You cannot stop the process. So maybe you can put some sealant or adhesive on the tape on that leak pipe so that water is coming out. Either it can be stopped or it can be minimized. So these all are possible examples of correction. Now comes the point number 2, that is containment. Now containment is primarily an extension of correction. So when we talk about containment action, primarily our intent is that immediate action that prevent the further use or distribution of the non-conforming material. And primarily here the intent is to identify the status of all the affected material and we can quarantine that non-conforming material so that it can be stopped from the further use. And all those actions can be at supplier end, sub-supplier end, organization, warehouse, transit warehouse, customer end, and depending upon the requirement, wherever we think we need to take some action. Now, another example could be that you're in a maintenance process and the pipe is leaking. Now, what to do immediately for containment? So immediately what you can do, you can put a basket there so that whatever water is dripping, it can go into that. Or maybe you can make some arrangement so that the water which is flowing, it can go through some other channel and rather than, it is spreading all over that place. Another example could be, let's assume that you are dispatching a headlamp and then you get a complaint from the customer that a bulb is fused. What to do with respect to that? So some of the possible containment action could be that you will check all the material which is at the customer end. You will check the material which is in transit. Whatever material is kept in the final go down at your end, you can check again that. Then in the assembly where you are actually doing the assembly of bulb with the headlamp, maybe you can check it once again, and maybe you can also communicate to the supplier that, well, this kind of problem has come, so you also check your material at your end so that that problem should not come again. So these all are possible cases of containment action. Now that brings point number 3, that is about interim action. So when we talk about interim action, primarily the intent is that it's a first state and the objective is to protect the customer from the problem until we define the root cause and implement the permanent corrective action. And in some cases, the interim action may be the same or similar to emergency response actions also. But here, whatever actions that we are taking with the minimal supporting data, and based on that, we are taking some action. Now, let's take some example. So it's a molding process and you find that some flash is coming. So what to do? So immediately maybe the process engineer can come, the process engineer can look into the process parameter of the molding machine with respect to the temperature, pressure or time. and can do some fine tuning here and there and see that now whether the flash is coming or not. So assuming that now it is the flash is not coming now, so now we have not validated the process, but whatever fine tuning that we did, that is working. So we'll revise this process parameter and then we'll do the production as per that. Till that time, we find the root cause and we can validate the process again. So that is one type of interim action. Now let's take another example. That example is with respect to the office, that you are sitting in an office and you have a severe headache. So what to do? What can be the possible interim action that you can take? So maybe till that time you can actually find out that why it is happening. You can, and because you need to complete your work also, maybe you can reduce some brightness of the screen of your laptop or the desktop. Maybe you can put some water in your eyes. Maybe you can have some frequent breaks, or maybe you can have a strong cup of tea and coffee so that you can take care with respect to that. Now take another example with respect to the maintenance process, that a water pipeline is leaking, what to do with respect to interim action. So one of the possible interim action could be that you can have a pipeline, additional pipeline which can be there, and rather than having the pipeline water from that, you can use that alternate pipeline till that time. Or maybe you can reduce the pressure of water till that time, till the time that problem is resolved or not. So these can be some of the possible ways in which you can take the interim action. Now talk about some of the key challenges that industry is facing with respect to step 2. The first one is how often whenever we are taking correction, containment or corrective action, we are actually documenting it so that we can have some reference later on whenever we want it. The second very important challenge is that whenever we are doing some correction, containment or corrective action, how often we are actually communicating to the customer or other relevant stakeholders like suppliers that this problem has happened and we have taken these particular action. And third, and the most common thing which is applicable throughout the industry, that many times whatever correction that we do or interim action that we actually consider it to be a permanent action. Say for example, a flash is coming, so we just put another operator and that operator will become a part of process to cut the flash rather than actually finding out the root cause of it. So if I do a summary, I talked about 3 things in step number 2, that is about correction, containment and the interim action. My next video will be in line with this, that is step number 3, and where I am going to talk about root cause analysis. Now there are very different ways of doing the root cause analysis. So in this next video, I am going to talk about the 3-layered and 5 analysis. Well, regularly I am getting a lot of feedback from your side and they are helping me to understand your expectation. So please do continue that. And in case you want to understand about this particular video a little bit more in detail, you'll find a link below, and if you click that, you'll find a blog there, and there you'll find this information in much more detail. And in case you're liking these kind of videos and blogs, you can always share with your friends and colleagues, and you can subscribe to my YouTube channel and my website bhavyamangla.com. Thank you.